Good morning and welcome to Gulfstream today. Brian Nadeau, Samantha Perry with you on another absolutely gorgeous day here in Hollandale Beach. Come on out and say hi on a 9-race Friday card. We're fast, we're firm, we've got the Tapeta, and of course front and center, $1 million in the gross jackpot. Rainbow Six kicking off in race 4.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem impossible today, so maybe there's somebody
Yeah.
out there.
There was a live ticket yesterday to sweep this thing for over $900,000, so it's not impossible, as Samantha said, to get involved and take a shot. The pool's going to be huge. Ron Nicoletti will be up a little bit later with a ticket. We'll show it coming up before race 4. It's a lot of excitement on a monster pool. We've hit that magical $1 million mark, and it's only going to go up from there. So get involved and take a shot. Of course, race 1 kicks off the early pick 5 here on the Friday card, and I've got a ticket for this one. A little bit of a scratched, ridden kind of ticket and sequence early and late for me, actually. So I go down to $9. It was originally $27, 3 deep in the opener, which if you look at the betting board right now, very early, but it's a great, great betting race. 2-4 is the order in race 2. The single now is Rock Out Cruise in race 3. I had a couple in there, but unfortunately they both came out. The best bet of the day is Don't Mess with Tess in race number 4. 3 deep in race 5. Wind 99 for a price for me. That's just a $9 ticket, so we'll open it up here in race number 1, and Samantha will head out onto a firm turf course for it. It is a $25,000 maiden claimer. These are the 3-year-old fillies going a mile. It's a tough race, and as I mentioned, very early, but a 9-2, very tepid favorite. A few scratches in here. The 9, 13, and 15 are out, and that draws the 14 Wand in. Neither of us have her, but she's a player on her day. This post is not ideal. You went to the outside, and I know you've got a stat, too, for Brian Lynch, who has done nothing wrong.
Oh, yeah, you couldn't say it any better than that. Heading west, a filly that's stretching out for the first time, just doesn't have that early quick foot to really carry her for the 5 furlongs. I think her sustained run will play well for this 2 turns. And here's a stat with Brian Lynch. This is a very large drop in class for this horse. She's going from maiden special weight ranks to maiden claiming. He's 9 for 26, 35 win percentage, $2.88 ROI the past 5 years here at Gulfstream Park. So not a very large sample. This is not an ideal post position for this filly, but Julian Leparoux's riding style, he's very much one that will cover ground, take a good position, and then hope she can make one run here, and that's going to be her best bet. She'll just have a lot of traffic to come out of as well.
Yeah, and it looks like he's got a little speed to work with. She was chasing hot splits, sprinting, so maybe he can get some position, as Samantha kind of hinted at. A very quick run into the first turn. I went next door to the 11, Reconnecting. We'll take a look at a replay of her on debut. A little bit of a troubled trip in here, and I thought, all things considered, she ran okay in this spot. Now, this is sprinting on the Tapeta, and this is now routing on the turf. She's going to be the 6 horse, kind of coming into your picture in a little bit here. She's behind traffic, again, on debut at 56-1. I just felt like for her to get beaten 6 lengths, she ran a lot better than her odds, and here she is here. She's going to kind of weave in and out a little bit. I thought she had some run. She got whacked around at the start, whacked around a little bit right there. And she kind of drops out of it here, and then you're going to watch her again, and I just kind of felt like, you know what, she got reinterested a little bit late. You're actually going to see her now. You can see it right there. She just kind of picks up a little bit, gets going a little bit. Listen, she was 56-1. I thought it was a pretty decent effort. Irad says, you know what, I'll get aboard here, so unfortunately we take an underlaid price. But there's something to work with, I hear.
Yeah, I think so too, and I like that little quick end that she did down the lane, especially after getting knocked around like that. She's not a very big filly, and so that really knocked her off her course some. So hopefully with a better trip, she could definitely be a player.
Dave Fox, a big percentage, about 22%, second out maidens as well. Collect a Lil as a firster for Chris Davis, who's had a very, very good meet. Paco Lopez is going to ride.
Yeah, and this is actually a filly that has been working really nicely at Palm Meadows. I've just watched her works on XBTV, and I think that it's a tough post for a first-time starter. She was entered a few weeks ago and was scratched out of that spot here, but she worked all right at the OBS April sale. She punched a $140,000 price tag, getting first-time Lasix, and Chris Davis can be very sneaky with moves like this.
Yeah, and Chris continues to spot his horse as well, and that's one of the reasons he's had such a strong championship meet so far. On to race 2. We'll get onto a fast main track. for the first time. It's a starter optional claimer here. Fillies and Mares 4 and up. We're going 7. Early pick 4 times. Samantha's got a ticket for that.
I do indeed, and I struggled with this race to kick it off, but I went with the single. I think you have to live or die by this horse here. Hopefully I'm going to be alive for it. In race 3, scratched down to a smaller field, but I just don't really trust anyone here. Rocka Cruz, though, is my top pick. I scratched into that horse. Race 4, 1 mile starter allowance on the grass course here. A tough race as well. The number 7, Don't Mess with Tess, is my top pick, getting first off the claim for Mike Maker. And in race number 5, 7 furlongs on the dirt here, and I could have gone much deeper than this. Boldness was who I landed with on top. Sappy Joseph had a great day yesterday, and he could very well just keep it rolling into the weekend.
Yeah, that's not an easy race in the finale to get out of the sequence, and that kicks off the late pick 5 as well, so $18 with the single. So let's talk about it now. Battle Cry. I mean, I used her. I put her in second. I used her in my early pick 5. She ran off the screen last time. She did get help when the other speed didn't break, but it was still a real powerful effort.
Yeah, it was. And she's looking for her 4th win in a row, which is a tough task just in general, Brian. But, you know, I like the fact that she's coming into this race a little bit fresh, so she's got that edge, and I don't worry about her fitness level at all. She seems to be one that can just kind of carry it through. And if she can run back to those other 4 or 3 wins, then it should be a tough spot for her. But yeah, she's one that you have to single and move on or go with somebody else.
Yeah, and I went with Rosie Holiday. There does seem to be, you know, I don't know if it's going to ultimately, there's speed to be ahead of Battle Cry, but I do feel like there's some speed in here to keep her entertained a little bit. Yeah. And maybe Rosie Holiday is the one that benefits if that happens.
Yeah, and it was an impressive victory, albeit it was against 2 other rivals in her last win, which kind of worries me a little bit. She maybe didn't get tested as much as she's going to today.
Yeah, no doubt about it. She definitely had took advantage of some good circumstances in there. She's all woman a little bit underneath, and I kind of feel like that's where she is underneath. Certainly Battle Cry as well, who'll be a short number in there. Race number 3 is on the Tapeta, sprinting 5.5. These are $25,000 3-year-old maiden claimers. This is the scratch race. 3, 4, and 6 are out. I double scratched into Rocka Cruz, who was my best bet last time. I kind of thought he had to win. He came up a little short. He's in a good spot, though, today.
Yeah, he really is. And if he can run back to that last out, he should put him in the winner's circle. Sonny Leon, he stays aboard here today, too. And he just pressed a quick speed, a quick pace last time. And I like the extra added half furlong he gets back today. I think it'll just kind of carry him a bit better.
Firster for Larry Bates with Galactic Jack the 5, and now with 5 horses, excuse me. You know, being a firster in here might not be the worst thing in the world.
No, it really won't. And he's had Tapeta experience working locally here across this Tapeta. Munnings is actually deceivingly good at just about everything, but especially on Tapeta sprints. So we'll see Luca Panici. I feel like he's good with riding these kind of firsters on the Tapeta.
And if you look at his works on the page, the dirt works were very slow.
Right.
He really seemed to hum a little bit on the Tapeta on the 14th.
Yeah, and that's a nice little tune-up to just kind of remind him, hey, we're sprinting and it's go time.
Yeah. And Elusive Empire's down inside, not impossible. Got to the Tapeta last time, definitely picked it up. Leonel Reyes has ridden him in both career starts. So we'll take a break. 3 down, 6 to go. As I mentioned, Rainbow 6-time in race 4. $1 million in the gross jackpot guarantee. Ronnie's got a ticket when we come back.
This is a championship meet. Yeah. All the best jockeys in the world are here, and I'm excited to ride against them.
We back.
And you get to watch some really incredible, talented athletes out there.
Yeah.
To us, it's a place to be in the winter.
I love Gulfstream Park because of the racing.
The palm trees, the beach is right here. The horse racing is some of the best in the country.
A lot of good horses come out of here. If you want to go to the next level, Gulfstream Park was the place to come.
I remember the first time I came to Gulfstream, it was like this big fairy tale place. All the history.
Shoemaker sitting perfectly still. He hasn't touched this magnificent colt, and here comes the finish.
And all these great horses, trainers, jockeys. It was everything that I ever dreamed of.
Welcome back to Gulfstream today. Brian Nadeau, Samantha Perry with you. We're just talking off the air. Fountain Youth next Saturday. The race is shaping up tremendously well on what is going to be an early post and a huge graded stakes card. Likely to see the 3-year-old debut of 2-year-old champion Forte. So a lot to look forward to next Saturday. A lot to look forward to in race 4 today with $1 million in the gross jackpot guarantee. Rainbow Six. Ron Nicoletti will be up with me in race number 1. Put a ticket, $43.20 for Ron.
Yep, this is his typical textbook play here. 4 deep in this leg. We're going to get to this race in a moment. Race 5, he took 3 of them. In race 6, this must be his best bet. He's singling with the 6 horse. That is Super Silver Dollar from Mark Cassie. This is a horse that's been a heartbreaker as of late. Hopefully he can get it done here today. In race 7, he's going 3 deep here. Man on the Moon was very impressive for Bob Hess. That's the 3 horse in that race last out. In race 8, 1 mile on the grass, the 4 Java Buzz, speedy horse for the Kelly Breen barn. That will be a fun race to watch. And ending the card, he doesn't have my long shot. I'm surprised I had the 3 Prussian Blue as my long shot. A Tapeta race here, 3 deep in that one. And Mateo, that might be a little hunch play for him. Rainbow Six.
43.20. So there it is. The pool will be ginormous. Get involved. And as Samantha and I said at the start, listen, there was a single yesterday on the sequence. So this is not impossible to have your shot. If you can get a price or two and narrow things down, take a shot at it. What will be an epic score. I'll start it out in the 4th because we've got a replay to bring up. This is a 25 starter for fillies and mares 4 and up. We're going a mile on the turf. It's my best bet of the day. And Samantha's got Don't Mess with Tess on top 2. We're going to kind of give you a little both ends of the spectrum here. We're going to show you the race last time. Now, she wins the race, okay? She's outside. Wicked Memory's down inside, and I didn't put her in my mix here, but she was favored in this race, and she had a trip this day for sure. She's down inside, whereas Don't Mess with Tess now is outside in the clear, kind of getting first run, and I think Wicked Memory's bottled up a little bit. She seemed to have some run. It's turf racing, and she couldn't quite get out, Samantha, and, you know, we see this time and time again that, you know, this is turf racing. Sometimes you wait for a seam, and sometimes it doesn't come about, and you end up giving up first run, and she even checked there a little bit. Not an ideal trip, but I do think still Don't Mess with Tess is okay in here today.
Yeah, I think so as well. And Mike Maker, he does a great job first off the claim. He's getting this horse from Carlos David here. Has been working nicely here over the dirt track. You can expect this one to probably fill out your trifecta box because he's been in it she has been in it the last 6 outs now.
Yeah, and the other reason too, Wicked Memory again is down inside, whereas conversely, Don't Mess with Tess is again outside. It's not hard to envision the race playing out very similar, where Don't Mess with Tess has got that perfect kind of 3-wide stalking trip. We're a little bit underneath, at least a little bit different. You go to the outside, Silver Magnetizer, Kevin Attard.
Yeah, I think this is a filly that might need an out here, but she was running some pretty nice races up at Woodbine. The last race, she caught a good turf course there, and I don't think she particularly liked it too much. In all the races where she was catching a firm turf, which is what we're going to have here today, she was able to sit a nice little stalking trip, and I think she'll be able to get that from the outside. And she has IRAD too, so if you get anywhere 8-1, that's lucky.
Yeah, and maybe there's a little intent here too with IRAD aboard. She's got some speed to work from that draw. Sandpiper Memory's a bit of a newcomer now for Jose D'Angelo after being with Gilberto Zerpa, freshened off kind of a mid-Atlantic campaign. Well, you saw her a few times up at Monmouth in the Meadowlands. She probably didn't leave much of a great impression.
No, but you know that Monmouth race, the allowance race, that division this summer was very tough. The tick boom, that was a very impressive horse. So was Texas Magic. Those were all horses that they all kind of caught up in the same races together and were tough. And then put a line through her Meadowlands out because that was like running across a cake surface is what I would describe it to. We just got so much rain dumped on us there. So if you just take out those 2 outs, it's not like her $16,000 effort was bad at all.
Yeah, and she's 1 for 1 over this turf course here too. And so if you take out the New Jersey effort, she's actually 3 for 8 lifetime. So we'll see what we get here. Race 5 is a problem race, I think. If you're looking to get involved in this Rainbow Six, and we'll throw it to Samantha here in a second for the late pick 5, this could be the race where maybe you're hoping for some chaos. We kind of identified it yesterday in the Florida bred allowance race. Right idea, wrong horse, 100-1 for Eddie Plisa. But take it away in the late pick 5 here in this 20,000 claimer for older.
Yeah, so 7 furlongs is the distance on the main track. A tough distance to kind of run at. I spread pretty deep in this race, like you mentioned. It's going to be a tough one. And race number 6, my top selection is the number 6 Super Silver Dollar. But I also do really like the 3 Cyclone Ranger, and I think he might get ignored just a little bit for the Brendan Walsh barn. Race 7, the number 3 is my top pick. That's Man on the Moon, who was so impressive last out, and I don't think he needs the lead, which will play well for him. Race 8, the number 9 is my top pick. That is Freedom Matters for the Safi Joseph barn. And race 9, going to go 3 deep in that one. The 3, Prussian Blue, my long shot of the day. One of 2 fillies running against the boys in this race. $60 is the ticket here.
I scratched into her Prussian Blue, but I had her in second all along, and I do think she's very, very interesting in that spot, and that is a spot that is definitely looking wide open. And, you know, you could do some bobbing and weaving a little bit in the finale. I'll lead it off here in race 5 only because I've got the replay of Win 99 coming up here. And this is the race 2 back where I thought this horse had a real trip. This horse has been very good to me. I'll admit that. But this horse also has races further back in his form that make him not only a player in here, that make him a win candidate in here. We'll draw a line through the turf route last time. And this is the race 2 back where I thought, all things considered, he ran okay with, you know, he's the 6th horse in here, and he's going to have to come through inside, and then it's not going to work. He's got to loop outside a little bit. He's going to run on a little bit late. Not an ideal trip. You don't want to get stopped at that point. He would have been a lot closer. And now it's 7 furlongs, too. I think this is a good trip for him. I'm just looking for a price, too.
Yeah, and you could really get it with him. And like you mentioned, these connections yesterday, they were just firing on all cylinders. And I did use this horse. I think this one has a very, very good shot.
13-1 and 50-1 for Eddie Plisa Jr. yesterday. You go to the 4 now. Boldness. This horse has never been in this light. This could be the wake-up call, right?
Yeah, it really could. And I don't think this horse is really a true sprinter. I think he's that in-betweener 7 furlong mile distance here, which he gets the 7 furlongs here today and actually already has a win over it as well. Junior Alvarado hops in the saddle here. And I like that this horse can be rated, even coming out of that 6 furlong race. I don't think this horse needs the lead.
Yeah, and it's a pretty good post for him as well. Rough entry goes to Rohan Crichton, Irad Ortiz Jr. Samantha found a stat on 2 guys that on their own, they're pretty darn good. You put them together, and wow, they're prolific, huh?
It's scary. 9 for 17, 53 win percentage, $3.09 ROI at Gulfstream just this past year. That is just so impressive to me. And that's not a bad ROI, too. So even though you're seeing this stat, like hitting you right between the eyeballs, as Ron likes to say, do you need to get hit in the head with a board? People are still letting these horses go off at high odds.
Yeah, and for 2 guys that get bet off the board, we see the IRAD factor day in and day out. And when you win about 26% of your races, that's going to happen. It's a tough race to kick off the late pick 5, so maybe you're spreading a little bit. I'll tell you what, race 6 is interesting, and that kicks off the late pick 4. We're on the turf here, routing $50,000 maiden optional claimer. These are 3-year-olds going a mile and a 16th. The Florida breds don't have to run for the tack. We're going to take a look at my ticket because I know Samantha is on Super Silver Dollar. I just got to be honest with you. I'm all done with Super Silver Dollar. I needed him badly in both times. And, you know, he ran okay. He was supposed to win. Maybe the blinkers now, maybe second-time Lasix. My long shot's in here. Etriat, we'll talk about that one in a second. There's the single for me in race 6. That's Doo-Wop Don in a race with a lot of speed and a horse that can stay close to it and maybe just kick into it. Now, the 8th, I scratch out of my top pick over the channel in a scratch kind of race. 49, that is the order. And I am with Samantha with Prussian Blue in the finale. The order is 3, 7, 5, 6. And like I said, I did scratch into Prussian Blue, but I also had her in second, and she was a major player to begin with. So let's get back to the 6th here. I'll let Samantha lead it off because there's no doubt about it that Super Silver Dollar is clearly the horse to beat. She's 5-2 on the morning line. She'll be a lot less than that by post time. I don't know. I've just kind of seen this movie before a little bit.
Yeah, we have 2 times to be exact, and they were tough beats both of those times. They're putting blinkers on today, which I think should help quite a bit. This is a half to Soup and Sandwich who ran in the Kentucky Derby. Just a kind of just narrow, smallish gray son of Kintharos, and he's not that impressive when you look at him, but he's got a lot of heart. And both times that he was defeated just narrowly, he really kind of worked his way through traffic, couldn't find clear running room. He deserves another shot, but this is it for me, and then I'm done.
Yeah, and I don't want to beat up on him too much. I think this group is lesser than the ones he just faced, right? And he was beating a nose. I just kind of felt like he should have won. Maybe the blinkers give him a little more stretch focus. He's clearly the horse to beat, but he's also probably going to be about 7-5 with Irad after being 6-5 last time. The 4 and the 8 are out, and the 14 as well. The 13 does draw in. So here's my long shot, Etretat for Nicholas Palmer, who's quietly done a good job. He's got a couple wins at the championship meet. We're a maiden special weight Florida breds, 3 times sprinting on the dirt. Now we're going to go turf. We're going to take the blinkers off. We're going to stretch out. He's not overly bred for it. I think I'm just looking for something a little clever. And this horse is going to be close now with an extra turn, too. Yeah,
he will. And he's drawn well for this as well. I don't think he's out of the question at all here.
In the 11, we both have some interest in the 11. We'll talk about the 3, Cyclone Ranger. I know you gave a shout-out to this one for Brendan.
Yeah, this is a horse that he's just taken a little bit to kind of mature. He was gelded before he even began his career, and that's a good thing because he can be a bit goofy sometimes. He just hasn't found that extra gear, and I almost wonder if it's just taking him a little bit slower to mature. Men usually mature a little bit slower than females, so.
Much better post this time, too. He wasn't beaten that far behind Super Silver Dollar in the last race.
No, not at all. And it was his first out was really.
It was a good effort,
yeah. It really was. So, that was my note as well. Drawn better today, and it should help him.
And you can't make up a worse post going a mile than the 12 of 12. So, that might help to make up a couple lengths in and of itself right there. Race number 7 now. We're back on a fast main track. These are, 4-year-olds and up. 12.5 is the tag. Fast 7 furlongs here. And you like Man on the Moon. I just felt, to me, whoever is going to be close is going to have to run hard every step of the way.
Yeah, he will. But the thing is when you go back in some of his previous races, he can be rated a little bit as well, which I think will help. And Louis Saez, who was aboard him last time, he's a very aggressive rider. Irad, he's clever, though. If there's speed that's going, he'll sit off of it. If he knows that this horse can be rated, he will.
Bob Hess sending a lot of live runners out. His 3-year-old, the Florida bred, ran huge yesterday, setting those hellacious splits and running so well to the wire. I singled Duop Don here. I needed kind of a leverage single. I just thought there was so much speed in this race at a very tricky 7. He's 10 for 17 in the exacta on the main track. He's got a hint of a rating gear. He doesn't have to drop too far out of it. I just might trip out in this spot.
Yeah, he really could. And Kelsey Danner, she's been doing an incredible job as of late. Everything she sends out, they've just been filling out your exotics. So definitely not out of the question as well. I just kind of wondered if lately he's been running better on an off track than a fast one.
That's very, very fair. And you see the races 2 and 3 back in the slop that he ran so well. And he caught a good group last time.
Yeah.
But that's a very valid point. I guess we'll kind of figure it out today because he's going to get a fast main track out there, and then we're a little more chaotic underneath. I'll give a mention to High Yield Kitten, who kind of woke back up last time. He is facing better on the rise, and then Samantha's got Akur next door for Frank Russo, who's done a good job, as always, at the championship meet.
Yeah, he really has, and this horse will be a bit of a price as well, but dropping to the lowest level of his career, so I think that will help.
Late double time in the 8th, and we are on a firm turf course. Some scratches in here. The 2, 3, 5, and 7 are out, so we narrow it down to a field of 5. You go to the outside. Freedom Matters. Did you always have him on top?
I did not,
Yeah.
no. And I think that this horse is going to have a nice trip. He's kind of learned to drop the bit a little bit and relax, doesn't necessarily need the lead, and it ran some good races in Kentucky, at Kentucky Downs, I should say. But Java Buzz, is this horse gone goodbye?
Well, we said that last time. Now, he did run fast last time. I don't want to, again, beat him up too much. He was 11-10 last time. I kind of thought he had to see it out, and he didn't. I don't know if he's going to go. He doesn't have to go 47-1 today. It just left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth that he couldn't deliver on an open length lead in mid-stretch.
Yeah, but that horse that did beat him, Jai Solitude, that's one from Brendan. That horse was exiting some tough races at Fairgrounds and dropped in for state breds and just absolutely exploded at the right time. And that was a time where I think we all were thinking that this speed was where you wanted to be in this turf course, and Jai Solitude kind of blew that out of the water, at least for me. I didn't bet him, and I knew the horse. So I think that Java Buzz, it's got to be today, and I kind of thought it was going to be last time as well. But
And Super Energizer ran third, came back to win, and the two horses that were chasing Java Buzz got completely fried. So it was a pretty good effort. I did scratch into him. I had Over the Channel on top, take it for what it's worth. And then certainly Marissa's Mission is in the mix for Marty Drexler, starting to get back on track a little bit.
Yeah, and getting back to the grass for this horse as well. Just has 2 Tapeta starts under his belt in this new year. So we'll see how that should play out, getting back to his probably preferred surface.
Yeah, he's got 2 wins, too, here on the turf, which is, you can't ever discount that here when you're on the local turf. The 9th is a little problematic, I feel, as well. We scratched the 2 and the 4 out of this. It brings back a field of 6 in here. This is a 12-5 claimer. 3-year-olds here routing a mile 70 on the Tapeta. I scratched into Prussian Blue. Your long shot, though, you had her on top the whole way.
Yeah, I did. They tried her on the turf last time. Didn't really work out too well, but it was just such a nice effort on the Tapeta. I understand the connections of doing this. I think that this is her level. This is her friends, this 12-5 kind of level, but keyword her. She is facing the boys here, but in a race like this, I think if you're going to take them on, this would be it.
It doesn't bother me at all. I think to be perfectly honest with you, I think that's a little overrated. Or we like to make a lot out of it. If you can run, you can run. She's also getting 7 pounds, and I don't think that's a bad thing from some of them at least. And the other thing too that is worth noting, she's going to run on Tapeta with Lasix for the first time too, and that was a pretty good effort back on the Tapeta. So we'll see what we get today. Certainly, Mateo is a major player with Jose Ortiz. He's dropping in class. I guess that's good, and maybe facing winners last time was kind of a rude awakening.
Yeah, it was, because even though he won by 3, that was still against maiden 12-5s, and these optional claimer Tapeta races have drawn very tough, and it was just too deep of waters for him.
Yeah, Pasajera for Rodolfo Garcia just dominated on the stretch out last time. I'm not playing a ticket without him either. Excuse me.
Yeah, she is one of the other filly in the race here, and I'm sticking true to if they won on the Tapeta last time, it's hard for them to repeat it. We'll see.
Well, that's an angle that you've kind of developed and talked about, and I know we don't have any stats to prove. It's been pretty fruitful though, because I feel
like it has. Yeah.
It's been difficult to double up or maybe maintain your form or reproduce your form, I guess is maybe the best way to put it. So that's the 9-pack here. Don't forget, the $1 million Rainbow Six kicks off in race 4. Ron's got a ticket. We'll go over it a little bit later on as well. Before we leave you, though, lightning round time on the Friday card, and there's a lot to look forward to. We've already talked about it, and first and foremost is Fountain of Youth. Now, that's an 11 a.m. post next Saturday. 14 races in the hopper, and I believe, there you go, 9 of them stakes races on what is shaping up to be an absolutely power card.
Yeah, and there we go. We see Jose Ortiz winning on simplification. And, Jose Ortiz has won the last 2 Fountain of Youth.
Well, food for thought, and we talked about the field a little bit. Blazing Sevens for Chad Brown could run. Forte is likely a go. The 2-year-old champion for Todd Pletcher. General Jim might come back after winning the Swale. So it's a serious race. It's essentially an automatic qualifier for the Kentucky Derby, because you're going to get 50 points to the winner. That's putting you in the starting gate of the Derby. And it's an important race, and we can't wait to see it all shake out because these are 3-year-olds now that are going places. And Forte, first and foremost, it'd be great to see him come back. Sibelius, we're not going to see him. We have seen him, though. We're going to show you him winning the Mr. Prospector here earlier in the winter, but he's going to be on a plane ride a long way from home for Jerry O'Dwyer.
Yeah, that's so exciting. This horse came back to win at Tampa, and best of luck to them. I know they've got to be on cloud 9 right now.
Yeah, and Jerry puts in the hard yards each and every day, and he's a good guy and an easy guy to root for, and he's done a heck of a job with Sibelius.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, the American horses, since the inception of the Dubai World Cup, have dominated the sprint races over there.
Yeah, they have. He is not out of the question at all, and you can possibly sneak a price on him as well. Those races, you get some value.
For sure. Your best bet today?
My best bet is from the first race that is heading west for the Brian Lynch barn.
I like it. For me, race number 4, that is the 7, Don't Mess with Tess, at 3-1, and your long shot?
The 9th race, the 3-horse Prussian Blue.
And I am a little bit earlier in race 6 with the 2 at big number, 20-1. We should get a big number in there too, and so. You need to get a big number. It's a reach. There's no doubt about it.
Yep.
Beat the Expert is you tomorrow.
It is, and I'm ready.
All right.
I'm locked and loaded.
I like it. Just get on the website, gulfstreampark.com/wagering, a free concert, Beat the Expert, and you can get some polo, free polo shirts. We love to give them out. We try to win, but, free merchandise if you can beat us. And then it's never too early to think Preakness, the second leg of the Triple Crown, up at our sister track in Baltimore at Pimlico, and tickets are going to go on sale pretty soon for Preakness 148.
It's a lot of fun. I think a lot of people will say that's the most fun leg that they go to, so make sure to jump on that as soon as they are released.
I have spent many working Preaknesses on the infield, so as a
working
guy drinking water, I know how I've seen how much fun it could be. I wasn't a part of it.
Yeah,
though, but,
it's fun time.
Tickets, so check that out especially, and of course that'll be front and center as we draw closer to the second leg of the Triple Crown. That's it for us. Samantha and I will be with you all day. Ronnie's up for the opener in the green room warming up, and of course upstairs right now, track announcer Pete Aiello for the changes on a beautiful Friday here in Hollandale Beach.
Introducing the first racing tool from Pegasus to Preakness. Iconic venues. World-class racing. Millions at stake. New champions will be crowned. Only at first.